What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this knife. This is the infamous Civivi Elementum. Wow. Alright, so this knife is very overrated if you ask me. I mean, this has been talked about for so long, and they've made so many different versions of this knife. They've made a button lock. They've made actually two different button locks. They've made a utility bladed button lock. They've made a fixed blade. They've made flip joint. They've made all kinds of versions of this knife. And, you know, I don't really see the hype behind it. It's kind of really boring if you ask me. Um, it's very plain. I mean, this is the all black version. I mean, it comes in every single million different variation that you can think of. But this is the all black one. Simple this is the originals, you know, just plain D2 steel blade. I think they might now have them in a different steel as well, but this is the plain D2 steel blade. See there on the flipper tab, it says D2. Black G10. Very boring, very plain, and it's kind of small. When I first received the Civivi Elementum, I was imagining it to be a bigger knife. I thought it would fit my hands, but it really doesn't. I mean, I get like 3.5 fingers and my pinky's sliding off. It really just doesn't fit my hand well. And I know you can put your finger up here like a trigger kind of deal, but then you're right on the edge and it's just sketchy. So I really don't understand the hype behind this knife. When it came out, I was like, oh, I gotta get one because everybody loved it. And I did. And then I was like, well, it's kind of not great. I mean, it's fine. It's a great knife. I won't say it's not great because it is a great knife. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just so boring to me. There's nothing here that excites me as a knife enthusiast, you know. It's just D2 steel, G10 handles, flipper, liner lock, very boring plain Jane Civivi, which is fine. I mean, it'll work well for anybody who needs a knife. This is all you need right here. It'll work for most of the tasks that anybody will do, but it's just so boring to me. And I don't know. If I'm gonna have a boring Civivi knife, I'd rather have a Praxis or you know, even like a Civivi riffle is a little more exciting to me than this thing is. Of course, it's bigger too. But I don't know, this just doesn't do it for me. If I'm gonna have a knife this size that's a Civivi, I would rather get like a mini bull mastiff, you know, because that has character. It's a big, you know, well, not big, but it's like a cleaver shape. It's not this boring, oh, drop point, you know, spear point, drop point, whatever. This is hollow ground. It's got a hollow ground blade. It's a great knife. There's nothing wrong with it. Solid lockup, you know, it's got the Civivi quality to it. Great lockup, no problems with, you know, solidity or anything. Perfectly centered, you know, it'll work. It'll flip out. It'll be shake shut, you know. It's good. It's on bearings. Made in China by Civivi Knives. It's a good knife, just not my style. Very boring. Nothing wrong with it. It's just boring, and it's also small. Let's do some size comparisons here. I'll show you what the size of this knife is. Let's do the PM2 and the Para 3. And you can see there, it's kind of more closer to a Para 3 size. Yeah, maybe even actually a little bit smaller than the Para 3. And then we'll also compare it to the QSP Penguin and the Benchmade Bug Out. And I will say the Benchmade Bug Out is also a very boring design, but it works really well, and I prefer it over the Elementum just because, look, I get extra blade length. It's bigger, it fits my hand. This is like the smaller, if I'm gonna buy a knife, you know, and carry it around, that if I want something like the Civivi Elementum, I'll just get a Bug Out because it fits all 4 fingers, or something more towards this size that'll fit my fingers. But that's just a hand size issue. But there's a comparison, very similar in size to those knives, especially the QSP Penguin, pretty close to that. And then also compare it to some big knives, ZT-0308 and the Microtech MSI. You see there, it's very small. So you really, like, in videos, when I first saw the Civivi Elementum, when it first came out years ago, I thought it was a lot bigger than it actually is. And when I first got it in hand, I was like, really? This is it? This is the size that it is? And I was like, okay, well, it's not going to be for my hands then. But if you have smaller hands, you might love this. I mean, you might really like this a lot if you have smaller hands. But it just doesn't fit my hands well. So got some jimping up here at the top. It's got a nice hollow grind. The hollow grind on here is great. I know on a lot of budget Civivi knives, they don't do hollow grinds. But on the Elementum, they did, and it does slice really well. So, and good action, no problems there. There's jimping on the liner here, and then a little bit on the flipper tab there, so you can get some traction and flip it. One more thing is I will take the weight of this knife. This could be a short, simple review. I'm not a huge fan of this knife. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just very boring. It works. And this weighs 2.9 ounces, so pretty good handle to blade ratio. So not too bad there. It won't be a weight in your pocket. It's kind of a smaller knife for my hands. So yeah, just if you want a knife to give somebody and you don't know what their preferences are or anything, you just want to get them a knife to use whenever, throw around, this is a good one to do, to get one for them, because it's not a very showy knife. It'll just work for their task, whatever it is, whatever they need it for, it'll work. So I think that's why they designed it that way, is so that you could just have a knife that anybody could use, and you know, it won't stand out, it'll work and be really utilitarian whatever you need it to be. So yeah, it's a good EDC knife, but I prefer something bigger. So that's about it. Not for me, but I can see why people like it. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. And let me know what size knives you guys like, bigger knives or smaller knives. And that's it for this one. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and have a great day.